Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chessbox Worldwide. Get ready for a chess battle that will blow your mind as we dive into a premier showdown from the 2025 National Chess League. In the white pieces, we have Panchol James Madol, a chess sensation from South Sudan, representing Gambit Chess Club, whose roster was composed of players from South Sudan national team whose mission was to take down the mighty CNH Chess Club. And in the other corner, we had Uganda's powerhouse, Ssonko Mathias Allan, playing for the formidable CNH Chess Club. This isn't any game, it's a Ruy Lopez showdown packed with insane tactics, high pressure moments, and a finish you won't believe. Both players showcased that deep understanding of the game, making this match a true testament of the rising talent in East African chess. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into this epic match. Panchol James Madol is a chess player from South Sudan. He has won several tournaments, including the 2020 Zaba Saja Memorial Open Chess Tournament, where he became the first Sudanese chess player to win a chess tournament in Uganda. He has also clinched the Nairobi Chess Club Championship title multiple times. In 2025, he won the 15th Capablanca Cup and the 7th Lee Pare Cup. He also runs the P. Madol Chess Club in Nairobi. While Ssonko Mathias Allan is a Ugandan chess player, a FIDE instructor, and also a notable figure in the Ugandan chess community, having won the 2018 Rwanda Genocide Memorial Championship and coached the Uganda junior chess team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the center of African chess. And in the white pieces, Panchol James Madol opened the game with 1 e4, e5 from Ssonko Mathias, knight f3, knight c6, and after bishop b5, this introduces us to the Ruy Lopez opening, g6, d4, and after e takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop comes to g7, bishop comes to e3, queen e7, putting an eye on the pawn which is on e4, knight c3, knight f6, f3, defending the pawn, short castling from Mathias, queen d2, plan to go ahead for long castling, a6, hitting on the bishop, bishop takes c6, followed by d takes c6 is the best approach, but however in this position, Panchol played bishop f4. Allan played the best move. He played knight e5, opening up for the pawn switch on to c5, and after bishop g5, hitting down the knight and threatening to bring into play knight comes to d5. c5 should have been unspotted, hitting on the knight. In case of knight coming back to e2, then pawn comes to b5 and followed by bishop b3 and then pawn c4 traps a piece. But however, in this position after bishop g5, Ssonko Mathias played c6, stopping any knight intrusions, stepping in. Panchol survived and he played bishop b3, moving out the bishop from harm's way. h6. Panchol played bishop comes to h4, but however, bishop takes h6 should have been considered. For example, after bishop takes h6, we could have seen knight takes e4, sacking the piece, and after knight takes e4, we could see queen h4 check, checking the king, and also winning back the bishop which is on h6, and after g3, queen takes h6, queen takes h6, and after bishop takes h6, f4, knight g4, and after knight d6, at least this gives white a slight advantage. But however, after h6, Panchol played bishop h4, Ssonko went on to play d5, hitting in the center and trying to open up the game. You see that the queen is looking at the king to do all the nasty things on Panchol. f4 should have been considered. We see bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, and after long castling, moving the king from the center, d takes e4, knight e takes e4 should have been considered, but he played h4. Now with the bishop comes to g7, moving back the bishop to protect the king, h5, trying to open up the game, g5, f takes e4. In this position, Ssonko Mathias played c5, trying to hit on the knight and then proceed to play c4, supported by knight which is sitting on e5, knight d5, hitting on the queen, queen d6, a perfect square for the queen, knight comes into f5, bishop takes f5, e takes f5, and after c4, Panchol as an aggressive player, he played f6, hitting on the bishop, and after bishop takes f6, in this position, queen f2 should have been considered, putting an eye on the b6 square, bishop d8 should have been considered. In the case of bishop falling back to g7, then knight coming into b6 can be very, very dangerous. That's why in this position, Panchol tried rook f1, Ssonko Mathias played bishop g7. And in this position, Panchol played knight f6, check, opening up the queen to hit the queen which is on d6. And now the knight is also checking the king. And in this position, I would like you to pause the video and guess the move Ssonko Mathias played in this position. Ssonko Mathias, the architect of chaos, played queen takes f6, fantastic move, sacrificing a full queen. Rook takes f6, and after bishop takes f6, We can say that Ssonko Mathias has sacrificed a queen for a rook, and now he's also taking another bishop which is on b3. Queen d6 should have been considered, but Panchol played rook f1 with bishop g7, queen d5, c takes b3, a takes b3, b5, rook f5, rook d8. Hitting on the queen, you don't have any time to hit the knight which is on e5. Queen comes to b7, attacking the pawn which is on s6, rook d6, defending the pawn and also taking control of the 6th rank, rook f1, moving back the piece and now rearranging the pieces to come and attack. Remember also in this position, rook coming to d8, supporting the check can also be very dangerous. Rook d8, and after king b1, trying to run away, moving the king out of harm's way. Bishop f6, now he wants to beat the king on g7, king a2, and after king g7, queen e4, rook e6, queen comes to f5, knight comes to c6, c3, b4, rook f2, b takes c3, b takes c3, e7, hitting on the queen and trying to maneuver the knight to its best squares. In this position, queen c2 should have been considered, but he played queen a5, and now we see rook comes to d1. In this position, b4 should have been considered, creating a room for where the king can pass, but he played queen c5, trying to put the queen to protect the c3 pawn. Now we see knight d5, supported by the rook, and now we see that the bishop and the knight are all eyes on the pawn which is on c3. In this position, he played rook c2, defending the pawn, rook e3. We see now 3 pieces are attacking the pawn which is on c3. In this position, b4 should have been considered, but he played queen a7. He played knight takes c3 check. After rook takes c3, rook takes c3, king a3. He played rook b1, but however, rook a1 should have been considered. For example, after rook a1, king comes to b4, rook comes to b1 now, and after queen takes a6, rook takes b3, king a5, rook a3 check. This is losing the queen and the game on the spot. But however, after king a3, he played rook b1, and still Panchol resigned the game and Ssonko Mathias won the game after sacrificing a full queen. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.